Hi, I'm Katrina. I go by Trina. I'm here in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska to be exact. I'm 26 and I have two daughters. And I think the question that was asked was my friendship and or relationship
Relationships in Alaska.
in Alaska. And that's like a slippery slope. Right now my circle is really small. Um, I had a couple of like girlfriends that we used to like hang out every day. We're no longer friends. The one friend, I can't say names. So the one friend, slept with my baby dad. And that in itself is a lot to like cover.
Take us through there.
I think, when I found out, I was trying to log in on my Instagram on my kid's tablet when I accidentally logged in on my baby dad's Instagram and saw their messages. I saw him sending her money. And I don't think that like it necessarily affected me in a way that I was like angry at them for what they did. It was more so my kids call her auntie, I call her kids, my nieces. It was just like an intimate relationship where you should really look at him as a brother, how close we were, but I guess that's not how she thought. So it just kind of like ended very badly. I see her from time to time and it gets like very hostile anytime that she sees me in public, so I try to avoid her at all costs.
Is that something that happens here commonly?
I think so. Like I feel like a lot of people just like it's like an endless cycle. Like if I'm dating you, maybe a couple of my friends have dated you without me knowing. It's just like what's the saying? They say everyone fucks. Everyone's been with everyone. Everyone slept with everyone.
Is that something they say here in Anchorage?
Yeah, that's like a thing that they say is everyone slept with everyone. Everyone's been with everyone.
Why do you
It's
think that is?
disgusting. I think that they don't have hobbies. They don't have morals. They don't have values. They don't have anything else to fill their time but to be messy and go to the club.
What does friendships in Alaska consist of here?
I think that like if you hang out with them 2 to 3 days and you 9 times out of 10 you guys are just like drinking, smoking, partying. That's not really like a friendship. Like I have close friends now today and we do activities like we'll go on hikes or we'll take the kids on a walk or we'll take the kids to the park. We like involve our kids in activities and we go and do things like color me mine and go make bread and like things like that. Like I feel like a wholesome relationship should be based off of trust and integrity, and I feel like a lot of people in Alaska lack integrity and or trust or normal values. They're not home trained.
And what do you think the cause of that is? Is it poor parenting, drugs involved? What do
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's poor parenting. I think the parents need to have a lot more structure in like what their kids do, watch, say. A lot of like what the kids are influenced by is what the kids allow, like what the parents allow. So a lot of things that like I incorporate in raising my kids is things that like my mom allowed me to do, and that just never really made me a better adult. So I'm trying to be a better adult for my kids so that they can have a better adulthood. And then drugs, you know, you're not really thinking straight when you're intoxicated. So
that I see that is a big problem here. What are some of the things that you think is
well, I mean,
affecting?
like Alaska is the number one for like STDs, murder, drugs, all that. Like we're number one for a lot of things. And I think that's just because we're cut off from the world. Anchorage specifically, we have like a huge drug problem. We have a really huge homeless problem. I think that We have like a huge like common sense problem. I think common sense isn't a thing for adults. I think a lot of it is like a common sense problem, but you just have to be born with that.
And also, staying here, how have dating been for you, for guys?
Well, so I went on a date recently. He was late. Then he took me to McDonald's, and then while we're watching
McDonald's for first date?
For the first date, McDonald's. I don't knock it, you know what I'm saying? But for the first date, I feel like we should have done something more like to get to know each other. Just don't think McDonald's is like the first choice place to take somebody. But as I'm eating an apple pie, because that's all I got was an apple pie and a drink.
Yeah, I was balling on a budget, huh?
As we're watching the sunset and we're getting to know each other, he just kind of like looks over at me and he goes, "You're actually not ugly."
What?
Thank you. You're never going to speak to me again. Yeah, the dating scene here is just, you gotta be very scarce. I'm a single mom, so I like to vet people that way. So like I go on a date, obviously I pay for a babysitter and I go on a date, and the red flags that scream at me, I kind of like heed those warnings, just because I have to be careful who I bring around my kids. I don't bring a lot of people around my kids, so you have to be a very wholesome person to be around my children.
I know you hear a lot about the disappearance that's going on, and always is females going missing. What is your own thinking of why that happens a lot here?
Because I believe very strongly that women should carry a mystery mouse tool with them everywhere they go. And if you don't understand what I mean by mystery mouse tool, look it up. Self-defense is not something that women are taught. I was raised by a really good father, had really good people raising me, and self-defense was a number one thing in our family. So I'm not afraid to pull it out. I'm not afraid to use it. I've had training, so it's just something that like I feel like lacks with the women in this community. They're just kind of like malleable to whatever goes, and if they're addicted to drugs or they have a certain drug of choice, that's easier for traffickers to use that and
do you think they mostly target people that are addicted to drugs are easier to take?
I definitely think that people who are addicted to drugs are easier to take, and that's not like a definite like every person that has gotten taken is addicted to drugs, but I think it's more plausible for them to be taken just because it's like, oh, why have you, and now you're strung out and you're passed out and you wake up chained to a bed. I have kids. I love my life and I love to get home to my kids, and nothing's gonna stop me from getting back home to my children. So you won't see me passed out chained to a bed.
Now, they're saying that with all the crime going on, do you think the city needs to put more money into strengthening the police and security, or spending more money into homelessness?
I feel like I feel like we've put a lot of money into the homelessness and it hasn't really solved an issue. I feel like we need to come up with a better solution than making more homeless shelters and making it more accessible for homeless people to just live off of the government, or like mooching off of resources, instead of like when you hit rock bottom and you're sleeping in a tent and you have a rock jabbed in your back, you're more likely to get on your P's and Q's and get a job and do this and better yourself than if you're sleeping in a comfortable, warm shelter where they provide 3 meals a day and they're not hounding you to get a job. They're not, you know what I'm saying? It's less structured. I feel like they need to put more structure in the homeless shelters in providing more resources for them to get jobs and get on their feet, and just more like being on them, about it. putting more money into the police, I don't think is what we need to do. I feel like the police up here are riding high horses, and they have a quota to meet, and they don't really care what happens to you at the end of the day. So as long as they meet their quota,
everything is,
can't really complain.
Now, talking about meeting a quota, what is your takes on 50-50 in a relationship?
50-50. I hear that a lot from like guys, girls. My take on 50-50 is gonna be the same every time somebody asks me this question. I feel like it stems from communication. You have to have really good morals, you have to have really good values, and communicate with your partner. 50-50 doesn't always look the same to everyone, but when people hear 50-50, they automatically jump to, okay, well, I pay half this rent, I pay this, and it turns into like a money thing, and it's not necessarily always about money. So 50-50 for me, I'm a single mom, so 50-50 for me would be like, I'm taking care of the kids, can you take care of dinner? Or there are absolutely, I will not take the trash out, I will not mow the lawn, I will not do this, and I consider those boy jobs, men jobs. And that's something that he would do. And then I consider like cleaning, taking care of the laundry, the kids. Those are all what I would consider like more of like a female role. And that is in itself a 50-50 compromise. It really all just stems from like what you think 50-50 should be in your relationship. It's not always a bad thing, but because social media has put like a stigma on 50-50, not a lot of people understand it or comprehend it, that it's not always about money. It could be about, I'm not feeling like being a mom today, so my man's gonna be mom and dad today. Or he's not feeling like being dad today, so mom's gonna be mom and dad today. So it's really just how you have your take on 50-50, and my take will always be the same.
Oh yeah, on that. So what do you think about the girls that say the guy is supposed to spend everything with their mentality?
I feel like women who have that mentality need to also have the same mentality that the man needs you to cook, clean, have the house spotless. You also need to have the energy to do what you do in the bedroom. You know what I'm saying? Like if you expect him to go to work, pay for everything, you don't have to do nothing but show up and look pretty. You need to show up, look pretty, clean, have the house clean, the kids taken care of. When he tells you to do something, there's no back talk, there's no this, there's no that. But that's tradition. That was like a traditional household back then, is women never had a say. So women want the benefits of a man taking care of them full time, but then to yap their mouth about this or yap their mouth about, you know what I'm saying? And then it's nagging. And I don't know any man who wants to be with a woman who's just telling him what he needs to do and how he needs to spend his money if she's not making none of her own.
Now for the people, like I hear this a lot, right? For the people that want to move to Alaska, is the stigma still the same, like that here you can move here and make money? How is living here for you? How would you describe that to somebody for you?
Okay, so yes, moving here to Alaska gives you more opportunities to make money. It is a small city, but a big city. It's a small city, but it's also a big city. And when you move, in Anchorage, it's a small city, but it's also big. And when you move to Anchorage, you'll realize that it's very diverse, and you'll see 18 different hair salons or 19 different, but it really is just, a lot of people are starting up, and then once they get like a rhythm or they find their niche, they tend to leave with that niche. And when they go to the States, because I've been to the States, it's not the same. So Alaska is very diverse, and you get more of like opportunities to make money. But when you go to the States, you realize that it's a lot different making money down there than it is up here.
What is your biggest fear living in Alaska?
My biggest fear? A moose running through my house. Or waking up and seeing a bear in my dumpster.
Yeah,
I think wildlife is my biggest fear. Yesterday I woke up to go to my Uber, and I couldn't go to my Uber because there was a moose laying in my yard. And that's the first time I have ever seen a moose. I wasn't even paying attention until I looked up, and the Uber driver was like rolling his window down and was telling me to like stop walking so that I could pay attention. Yeah, I hear you're not supposed to run from them because if you do, they'll trample you. I've never seen somebody be trampled by a moose, so I'm so scared to even being that close to them. I thought I was gonna die.
That definitely, that was very nice. I mean, is there anything before we close this interview that you would like to say or voice your concern to the state or whatever it takes?
No, I think that I like the person that I am. I love myself. My name is Trina, and I'm on Mad Alaska. Thank you for listening.